Hello everyone, this is Lecture 0 of ComSci 141, and in this video, we will introduce ComSci 141 or Automata and Language Theory. In this video, we will discuss the course requirements, the course outline or the topics that are covered in this course, and the course materials that we'll be using throughout the semester. Okay, so if you haven't heard of the term automata yet, our first question should be, what is automata, right? Since we'll be focusing on automata in this subject, we should ask, what is automata? Well, it's not this automata, okay? Get it? Because it's an auto with a mata. Anyway, it's not this one, okay? An automata is basically an abstract computing device, okay? And we'll focus on automaton or automata throughout this subject. But the formal title of ComSci 141 is actually Automata and Language Theory. So later on, we will find out that automata and language comes hand in hand because a certain automaton type has a corresponding language class that it belongs to. Okay, so we'll learn more about that in later lectures. Now, ComSci 141 has a prerequisite, which is ComSci 57 or Discrete Mathematics 2. So I'm sure all of you have already passed this course for you to be able to enroll in 141. But just a little heads up, ComSci 141 is very heavy on theory. So it's a theoretical ComSci course. Okay, and when we say theoretical ComSci course, so there's a lot of proving, there's a lot of formal notations, there's a lot of math notations, there's a lot of formal languages. Okay, so if you're the type of student who is really good at applications like in programming but not really that strong in theoretical stuff, then you should double your efforts siguro to be able to keep up with the topics that we have in 141. So that just a little heads up, because this is one of the more dreaded courses in the ComSci curriculum just because of the pure theory approach, right? But as much as possible, I'll try to make it as digestible for you so that it would also be understandable for you even at your level. Okay, so just a little heads up. That's not meant to scare you, but just to give you a reality check. Okay, so that's ComSci 141. Now we have 3 units for 141, and that's 3 hours of lecture per week. And our schedule is formally at Tuesdays and Fridays, 8:30 to 10 a.m. Okay, and we'll usually cover around 2 topics per week. So each topic will be around 1 hour to 1 hour 30 minutes na video lecture. Okay. Now, for the course outline, the topics are divided into 3 parts, which is the finite automata, the context-free grammars, and the Turing machine. Now, before we discuss the topics in detail, you could check the course guide for the detailed explanation of the topics, detailed breakdown of the topics. So you have the schedule here, you have the topics with their subtopics, target learning outcomes, resources, activities, and output rubrics. So you can read up on the course guide for the detailed version of the course outline, basically. Okay, so this is available in the course web page. So let's take a look at the topics in the course outline, starting with the first set of topics, which is finite automata. Okay, so first, of course, we'll introduce automata. We'll discuss the concepts of strings, alphabets, and languages. And then we'll look at our first type of automata, which is finite automata. We'll look at the deterministic and non-deterministic versions. We'll look at NFA with epsilon transitions, two-way finite automata, and finite automata with output. So lots of different types of finite automata. We'll also look at the corresponding language of finite automata, which is regular languages. So we'll look at regular expressions and the equivalence of the finite automata and regular expressions. And then finally, we will take a look at the properties of regular sets or regular languages. So we'll discuss the pumping lemma, closure properties, and decision algorithms. Okay, so that is the first set of topics, and this will correspond to our first long exam as well. Okay, yeah, and then there's also minimization of automata. Okay, so the second set of topics is for context-free grammars, and this would correspond to our second long exam topics naman. So for context-free grammars, we have the context-free languages. So context-free grammars, we'll discuss parse trees, how to derive from parse trees, and also discuss a little bit about ambiguity in grammars. And then we'll also discuss how to simplify the context-free grammars and convert it to its Chomsky normal form. Okay, and then the corresponding automaton for context-free languages would be the push-down automata. So we'll discuss push-down automata, equivalence of PDA and CFG, the deterministic push-down. We will also discuss how to design push-down automaton. And then finally, we will discuss properties of context-free languages. So we'll also discuss the pumping lemma, closure, and decision algorithms for context-free languages. So just like we have the properties of regular languages in the first set of topics, we also have properties of context-free languages in the second set of topics. Okay, so this will correspond to the second long exam topics. And finally, the last set of topics would be centered around Turing machines. Okay, so Turing machines, how to construct the Turing machines with restrictions and extensions, and then the corresponding language for Turing machines, which is recursively enumerable languages. And we'll also discuss Chomsky's hierarchy of languages. And then for the last set of topics, we will be covering some topics in theoretical computer science, specifically undecidability, intractability, and the P versus NP problem. So this is more on the limits of computation, limits of what a computer can do and not do, and what can be done in theory and what can be done in practice. Okay, so that's further along the line pa, towards the end of the semester. Okay, so yeah, we'll also discuss NP complete problems along with P versus NP. So if you've heard of this term before, like P versus NP, NP complete, then you probably have an idea of what's coming. Okay, so that's the course outline. Now for after everything, so at the end of the course, these are the outcomes that we are aiming to for you to be able to do. Okay, so you should be able to, number one, identify and differentiate the languages in Chomsky's hierarchy of languages. So you've already seen the three languages there. You have the regular languages, context-free, and the recursively enumerable. So we mentioned that in the course outline, but it's one thing to know about them, but it's also another thing for us to actually understand what these languages are, okay, and differentiate them. If is one language just regular, or is it also context-free? Is it recursively enumerable, and so on? Okay. The next one is to construct the corresponding automata for a given formal language. So if you have a language, we should be able to construct the automata that accepts this language. So we'll also be learning how to do this throughout the course. And then we'll prove the equivalence of the language and its corresponding automata. So if you've noticed, in the first part, we have the equivalence of finite automata and regular expressions. And in the second part, we have equivalence of CFGs and push-down automata. Okay, so we should be able to convert between a language and its corresponding automata and vice versa. Okay, and then finally, we should be able to understand the theoretical limits of computation after learning about undecidability and intractability. Okay, so these are the outcomes that we want for you to learn after the end of the course. Okay, now for the course requirements, we have three main requirements. So the first one is the 3 long exams. So that would be 60% of your grade, so 20% for each long exam. And then the assignments, we have around how many? We have, I think, 5 assignments and 1 problem set. Yeah, so we have 5 assignments and 1 problem set. That would take up 25% of your grade. So you'll notice that the assignment is actually bigger than one long exam, because, well, there's a lot of assignments that you need to submit, and that's also for that will serve as practice for you before the long exam. Okay, and then the remaining 15% would be for a group project, which you will do towards the end of the course. There's actually the instructions are actually already up in the course page, so you can read about the instructions for the final project later on. But basically, what you'll do in the group project is you will create a creative presentation of what you've learned in ComSci 141. Okay, so you can read about that in the instructions. Okay, so that is the course requirements. Now, I would like to reiterate this honesty during exam. So for our exams, it would be take home, and, well, since you're already home anyway, it would be open notes, and it would take about 1 week. From the time that I give out the exam, you have about 1 week to finish the exam. So you already know this. I want you to work on the exam on your own, because this is an exam and not just an assignment. Wherein in the assignment you can work as a pair, as a group, but in the exam you have to work on it individually. Okay, so I don't want another case of having to ask you to explain why there are similar answers with your classmates. Okay, I don't want that to happen again. So just please answer the exam on your own, and don't copy from other people. Don't ask other people for any ideas. Just answer it on your own. Okay, so just remember that honor comes before excellence. So even if you score a high score, but you actually got it because you just copied from someone, it's not honorable at all. Okay, so yeah, it's already open notes and you have ample time to finish it, so just please work on it individually. Okay, so that's it for course requirements. And then for the grading system, it's the same as my past subjects. You can also see this in the course guide if you're interested. Now for the references, we have 3 main references, but the main one that I'm using is actually this one, the Hopcroft et al. Book. So Introduction to Automata Theory, Languages of Computation, 2nd edition. But from time to time, I also consult this too. But I always put the references at the end of the lecture notes anyway. Okay. Now for the course materials, you're already aware of the ComSci 141 web page, I hope. So the web page is where I put all of the materials, so all the lecture notes, all the lecture videos, all the assignments, all the problem sets, exercises, and so on. I will put them here. Okay, and it's already arranged by schedule. So per week, what are the things to do? So this week we have lecture 0, lecture 1. The next week we have lecture 2, lecture 3, and so on. Then you have assignments and other stuff, and then you also have the lecture videos here already uploaded. Okay, so you can check all of the materials here in our ComSci 141 webpage. Okay, for each topic there will be the lecture notes, which is in PDF form, and then you also have the lecture video, which runs about 1 hour to 1 hour 30 depending on the length of the topic. And then in some topics there are demo videos, and in some topics as well there are ungraded exercises. So exercises are meant for the student to be used as a self-assessment tool after watching the video. So if you understood the topic, you can take the ungraded exercise on your own, and then you can check the solution also at the last part of the exercise. So I also include the solution so that you can self-assess whether you are doing it correctly or not. Okay, so ungraded exercises are different from assignments, wherein assignments, you actually have to submit them. Okay, ungraded exercises, you can choose to do or not do it. It's up to you, but it's just there if you want to make use of it. Okay, so those are the materials that we'll be using throughout the course. Now, if you need any help, if you need to consult about something, you can email me at my UP email, jrdaradal@up.edu.ph, or you can also ask me through the group chat that we have, the ComSci 141 Messenger group chat, or you can send me a direct message if you are shy to ask it in the group chat. Okay, so yeah, if you need help, just shoot me a message anytime. I might not be able to reply right away. It depends on my availability as well, but I will reply to you as soon as possible. Okay, so probably 1 to 2 days at most. Okay, so yeah, that's it. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. And that's it for the introduction. So again, you can look at the course guide for the detailed course outline and the topics, and you can also look at the course web page for the schedule and the upcoming activities and the materials. Okay, so that's it, and I will see you in the next video.